Hi guys, it's Matt here from Oathwire, and tonight I have Brian, who is IronHammer on Discord. Hey Brian, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I am really good, thank you very much. Yep, another episode of Oathwire done, and subject being Oathmark. So
Yep.
it's good evening.
Yeah. I would just like to say thank you for having me again.
No. You did a last episode you did was really good, and
Yep.
I'm really grateful that you found time to be able to come and sit on the show and let's talk Oathmark about me, with
Yep.
me. So, yeah, I keep on trying to get rid of Americans, but yet again I pick another one up. But no, I love you guys really. I do. I
Yeah.
love it.
Love
I love
across the pond.
America. Yeah, I love America. So, and most of the Americans, but yeah, same as England. I love England and most English people, but not all of them. Anyway, so we're going to move on to what's new. What's new? Not a lot. Is
Yeah.
the honest answer. I think Christmas is on its way in the UK and over in the US and various other places. But there's not a lot coming out of North Star. We've obviously had all the dwarves already, so I'm not seeing anything on the horizon, hopefully for the new year. So we're going to move swiftly on to what's new for you. So what's new for you, Brian? What's on your
Actually,
plate?
quite a few things. One is I have a bunch of minis being primed as we speak right now of Games Workshop Mordor Orcs,
Okay,
which I
they're
plan to
nice. Yeah,
use
they're nice.
as for orcs in my own Oathmark army.
Uh-huh.
Um, I also have some Frostgrave cultists that I kit bashed a little bit
Nice.
that I plan to use part of my narrative campaign and also for a Dungeons and Dragons campaign for
Ooh.
Horde of the Dragon Queen.
Oh, yeah. Played it, lost to it.
Yep.
It's a good one.
And I just figured, because I don't have kobold, so I'm just going to substitute the good old Oathmark goblins
Sounds good to me.
because I can't be bothered to buy kobolds.
No. I mean, you are only buying kobolds if you're
Yeah,
playing D&D.
yeah.
So they don't really fit into any other fantasy
No.
genre, really, do they? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows?
I mean, you could do counts as,
Mm.
yeah,
I mean, you could probably use them as, yeah. I don't know. They are kind of goblin-y in
yeah,
D&D. They run away most of the time and try and attack you when they know they're going to hurt you.
yeah,
Otherwise, and they die in
yeah.
massive hordes of them when
So
you
yeah,
get into them. Yeah,
essentially goblins.
they are essentially goblins. So there we go.
Yep.
Oh, nice. So cool. So you got that. You're painting them up at the moment. So
Yep. I did also just get in the mail the Fawn Warband from RGD Games.
yeah. No, I've seen them. Yeah, they are interesting looking plastics.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, I don't know what's inside them. I think the artwork on the outside of the box might possibly not do them justice. I may be wrong, but they don't look great on the box art. I have to say, they look a bit wonky. Maybe
Yeah.
that's just me.
They I was putting some together. They are very skinny.
How are they?
Um I'll I wish I had an actual cam on my computer or said
All right. Okay.
show you.
Yeah. Never mind.
Yeah. But other than that, that is essentially it on my
Okay.
end.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm still plodding through my dwarf army.
Yep.
I spent some time making some terrain as well.
Hmm.
I've made some like marshy, sort of decayed trees, and because
Okay.
I had a load of printed trees
Hmm.
that sort of like the eerie tree sort of thing with
Right.
dead trees, that sort of look at them, and chop down bits of trees and stuff like that. So I've made some snow bases with trees in it for scattered terrain,
Yep.
and then I've made some like scattered terrain, sort of like for an undead battle or something like that. So it's sort of
That's nice.
swampy,
Yeah, like
sort
a
of.
marshland kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I need to get some water on them because they've
Hmm.
pretty much finished. I got some stuff, AK interactive stuff that makes it's really good for puddles. So I'm going to make some divots so that I can
Hmm.
fill it up with murky water and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So yeah. So I've been doing that, which has been good fun. I love making scatter terrain and terrain.
Oh yeah.
When I get fed up with painting figures, I do that just to ping my brain again. So, which it did. So I'm back to figure painting. I've been trying to do the 30-30 thing. I haven't posted for ages because I've just been doing YouTube, Oathwire, and painting, and I'm like, I'm just not going to post because I've got time to at 10 to 2 10 to 1 in the morning, take photographs that look any good and post them up. So I'm going to do something at the end of the month to say this is what I've done.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's what's new for me. So
Right.
yeah. So we're going to now go off into our main topic. So today we are going to be talking about building an army from scratch. So yeah, what does that mean? Go for it, mate. Yeah.
Well, I was just going to say, so like building an army is essentially how you play the game. There is the kingdom building and the campaign system, but in order to progress both of those, you need an army to do that. So
absolutely.
Okay, brain fart.
It's okay. I have them regularly.
Yeah. Your brain is working 1 minute, and the absolute next second it just shuts down. You ever get that? Yeah.
Oh yeah. I've done it doing this. I've literally just sat there and gone, nope, forgot about what I said 20 seconds ago. But no, you're right. So you need that army to move on from the kingdom building, the concept that you want to do. I mean, I don't know how you run it, think about building an army. And I've come from up to Oathmark from a standing start, so I had nothing.
That is essentially me as well.
Yeah, I had no
Oathmark is my first ever tabletop game.
Oh, first ever tabletop game. Oh, right.
Actually, no, that's a second. I do have the Elder Scrolls Call to Arms. I'm sorry.
Okay, no. So you come from board gaming, have you?
No, online video gaming, actually.
Oh, right. Okay, cool. Okay, so wow. Yeah, so I came from historical gaming. So, but I come from a standing start. There was no getting the stuff out the loft that I bought from 30 years ago from Games Workshop, right. Or my Kings of War army that could be rebased or anything like that. I just didn't have it. I've got a samurai army that I could use. And I did use that for a bit, and I got some Dark Age stuff for Saga and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah.
So they're good stand-in humans, but they not enough, if you know what I mean. My samurais would be okay for 1,000, 1,500 points, but beyond that, there's not enough of them because it's for a skirmish game. So that's where I've come from. So it's what figures am I going to buy? Print. So
and if you don't have anything to start, that is what might be a little bit daunting at the start, like where you don't know where to go.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, and then you've got to paint it. So
that's another battle in itself.
Absolutely. I mean, if we're talking about, okay, I'm going to field a 2,500 point army. Okay, so what are you going to do there? I want to do orcs. And it's like, okay, well, that's quite a lot of figures. Okay, well, I'll do humans. That's still quite a few figures.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of figures to be painted if you haven't got that army. Yeah. So you got to take that into consideration. And when I started, I picked elves because the points.
Yes.
And I was like, I don't have to paint lots. Yeah. I don't have to buy lots. This game might not take off. I might not have anything to play or anybody to play with it. So, what do I invest time and money into? So I started small with elves, which meant I didn't need loads.
Yeah, because 2,500 points of elves is just 2 boxes probably.
Yeah, and a horse.
Yeah.
But so it's not masses of painting. Nope. But then I got into it, and then I went from 2,000 points rapidly up to about 5,500. So easily
that
done.
Is the rabbit hole.
It is, and then I've got my dwarves, which went from 2,000 points to God knows what it is now, actually. But yes, a lot. So and then the monsters. You know, I was just like, I need some monsters. I need that monster, that monster, that monster, that monster. So, but yeah, I mean, when you start building your army from scratch, so what's your thought process? What are you thinking? You know, I suppose there's a lot of people out there that are talking, you know, think probably the same way as we're thinking, and going, oh, what are they talking about? But I just wanted, that's what I want to talk about. I've got a project in my mind.
Help those people out so they can also, so instead of it being a daunting task, they go, okay, it's not that bad actually.
No, absolutely.
Yep. But I mean, the first thing when you're building an army is you got to think of a theme. Be that either like all unifying colors or sort of a ragtag militia group, or even a mix of both, where you have the professional army being backed up by the levies.
Yes.
And then after that, it sort of goes into maybe picking a culture, either from our own real world or maybe from pop culture, like Lord of the Rings, Warhammer,
absolutely.
Or what are some other ones?
Kings of War.
Yep.
There's there's a vast array of fantasy, like Dragonlance, Forgotten Realms, you know, just D&D.
Warcraft.
Definitely. You know, I suppose they haven't made a game of that yet, but so there's just, you know, you lend it to Wheel of Time, you know, that's just come out. You know, they got Beast. I watched the first episode and went, they've got Beastmen. Well, they aren't called that in the game, but so I mean, it is about, you know, settling around that. I mean, we talked just a bit before we started this. You know, you've gone Anglo-Saxon and Viking.
Yep.
You know, you based, and you know, I've done the same. I've got elves, which I've based around sort of Anglo-Saxon culture. My dwarves and my goblin army is going to be based around Viking culture. You know, this game is about Dark Ages, and it lends to that well. So, you know, I think it's it's a very important step when you're creating your kingdom. And that's what I do. I was like, well, what do I want to do? You know, I want to build a kingdom. What's my vision for that kingdom? So,
and that's really the thing with this game. You build your own kingdom. It's not like you have set factions to choose from.
Absolutely.
You want to run, in my case, Vikings with orcs? Go right ahead. You want to run halflings marching alongside skeletons?
Yes.
Why not?
Well, exactly.
Yeah. So, and then you really get to just make it your own. So you feel maybe more attached to the army that you're making.
Yeah. And then you get to, you know, so, I mean, I'm thinking, I don't know, as all wargamers do, I'm jumping ahead. You know, my next mission for Oathmark is to make an undead army.
Yes.
So I have some ideas around in my head, but my first plan is actually I'm going to try and source every single thing from North Star for my undead army. So I don't know how possible that is, and it won't probably be until next year at least. So
because I think we still, unless you do kit bashing, then you're going to be waiting a while for the Revenant Cavalry, I think.
Yeah. There's no cavalry. I mean, you'd have to do something for chariots. So but there's bits and pieces. There's some Mark Cobblestone. They've got lots of different ranges on there, so it's not just going to be the Oathmark stuff. It's just anything that North Star's using. So I'm looking forward to doing that, and so that's where I've started from there. And then I'm going to put the concept around that and build up from there. So I don't know how plausible that's going to be. Actually, is how easy. I mean, by the time I do it, it might be that they've got they've got some more bits and pieces out for the undead. But you know, we already know that we can add in stuff from Frostgrave. You know, there's undead trolls and zombies that they do, and all sorts of stuff like that.
I remember seeing the other day there was a really nice looking ice troll.
Yes,
Yeah, that.
yes, yeah,
Yep,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know what one I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know exactly which one you're on about. Um, so yeah, there's lots of. I think there's. I think. I mean, and that's the beauty of it. We can do it an undead army, but I can
Yep.
mix. I can mix in, like we said, we can mix in the other monsters and units from there and just make them look undead. So
And that's one of the great things about, I won't say just Oathmark, about Joe McCullough's games.
mhm,
They are miniature agnostics. You can use
mhm.
whatever you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so like on my end, for a good amount of time now, I was painting my Frostgrave barbarians as orcs.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, so like, because I'm very much a fan of the Elder Scrolls type of orc, where it's like this muscular but like
Oh, right. Yeah.
humanoid.
I'm just trying to picture my son playing it because I never really played it.
Ah,
But I have seen, I watched it and a lot. And so, yes, I do know what you're on about. Yeah.
yep. Although once I am looking more now towards the Games Workshop Lord of the Rings orcs.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So once I get a decent amount of those figures, I am looking to convert my existing barbarians to maybe just barbarians.
Okay. So are you using the
Yeah.
human head still and everything, and you've
Oh
painted
yeah,
them?
I am kit bashing. So like I'm putting some Oathmark dwarf weapons, some
Okay.
Frostgrave, some other. I'm pretty much just kit bashing them all, but for
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
most
Yeah.
part, it is the Frostgrave barbarian body and head.
Okay. Yeah. 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 Okay. Cool. So, and are you making them? You're not making them flesh colored. You're making
Nope,
them
green.
black, green. You're green skinning them up. All right. Cool.
Yep.
So they are very humanoid orcs.
Hmm.
So I suppose closer to a half orc, maybe from
I
D&D.
suppose, yeah.
If you're thinking about
I
that,
am a
maybe.
fan
Yeah.
of the half orc build kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. 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 Oh, that sounds quite. Yeah. I've never thought of doing it that way. But
Yeah.
that's quite cool.
And
So.
it came about one day because I was going, I don't really like games the way Games Workshop orcs look. The Games Workshop Mordor orcs, they're okay. But I'm
Uh-huh.
looking at the barbarians box that I already had. I'm gonna go. And then the light bulb goes off.
Uh-huh.
And then I'm going, if I just paint their skin green, they're orcs.
They are. They are, aren't they? That's
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. So no, that definitely works. And
Yep.
I mean, the sculpts on those are quite nice. You've
Oh
got all
yes. They are probably my favorite Frostgrave plastic set, I
yeah,
would
yeah.
say.
I've got a set for I
Yep.
use that. My Frostgrave Demon Summoner warband is all barbarians. So I know it's meant to be the baddies, but mine are all
Yep.
that's my warband. So
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. I do like them too. So I suppose that's that's the key thing.
Yeah.
Is we've decided, A, what our budget's going to be. B, we're going to kind of put a theme around it for undead. What's all the army concepts going to be? We obviously go to kingdom building, and we have talked about kingdom building on Oathwire several times,
Yeah.
and so we're not going to go over that massively, but there's a lot of options in there now. All the books are out as well.
Yeah.
You can add in all sorts of stuff, and if you go single race, I think you can probably add a bit more of the interesting stuff in there for
Yeah.
each of those nations. That's your nation, and some of the new sort of tactic areas, like javelin
Yep.
and stuff like that. I think that's actually gives you those options. If you really fancy going single race, I think that's the benefit of going single race. In fact, so if you mix that race up, you obviously need the different city, and you might want to bring this, that, and the other in, so it starts consuming your holes.
I will say that when I've only had the core book, you had a lot more openness in creating a kingdom. Now that all the supplements are out, the terrain slots are a lot more valuable because there's a lot more to fill them with.
Yes, they are. Yeah, no, absolutely. I think you can. Yeah, I think I know what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can get over. you get overawed slightly with the massive stuff that's there. I made up a army off the sort of top of my head, and I actually only used what was available in the book, and so it's actually got a. I've started a campaign. I've got a dwarf. I have a halfling and a elf and a human city in it, because that's what I wanted, and it hasn't got lots of snazzy stuff in it, but I've got lots of the different nations in there to play with my army, because I've got it all. So that's why I decided to do it. But yeah, I know what you mean. If you want to play, I don't know how it's going to work. We will find out, but it may get creamed. But you're right. Do I put a Master Fletcher in there?
Yep.
Or if I put a Master Fletcher in there, what's it taking out? That's the point of view from I'm looking at. Is what I'm putting that in. What am I going to lose out on?
Yep. I had a thought.
Go for it.
Well, you see, I had a thought.
He had a thought, and it left. Stage left. So we're gonna, once we've got that sort of core of the kingdom done, and we've decided what we're going to do, and that's it, isn't it? You know what you're going to do. So then you're going to have to go and say, I just
build an army to play, because you will come around where you're about to play a game.
Absolutely.
And that's where a lot of my notes come from, are building an army to play a game. So most of it is assuming that the theme is chosen and the kingdom is built already.
Yes.
And I categorized all of the stuff, that's really the only way I can say it, into four categories. You've got your infantry, of course, your ranged, cavalry, and monsters.
Yes.
So while I've never played Warhammer Fantasy, I will say I have seen many battle reports, and I know there's a concept of the game forcing you to take a set amount of core troops. While Oathmark doesn't force you to do that.
It doesn't, no.
Yeah. It is a good idea to bring a front line that won't crumble immediately.
Absolutely.
Yes. Or if you do, bring more front line than your enemy.
Yes.
Because like in the case of goblins, they're going to die. Goblins are going to die.
Yes.
That's why there are so many of them.
Yes, get lots of them.
But if you can if your line of goblins is bigger than the enemy's line, eventually they're gonna run out more than you you know what I'm trying to say.
So yes, you're gonna wave them, aren't you? Let's be honest. You're gonna
essentially
not human wave them, goblin wave them.
Essentially Skaven.
Yes. It's a horde army. If we took it back to all of the different genres of games out there, it is the goblin army. If you went all goblins, you're going to have to play it as a horde. So that means you're going to have to paint a lot of figures.
And on the alternative, you were talking about this before, elves. Because to play a full game of a full army of elves, you don't really need a whole lot.
No, you don't. No. Probably, I'd say you probably need at least 30 archers, but that's a given for me. And then you need some infantry that are going to hold up the line while you pile in your bow into these guys.
And that actually goes into the next category of ranged. So, at least for non-elves, not many things have aimed fire.
No.
So at least what I've found is you want like 2 to 3 10-man blocks of your basic archers. And then maybe like one unit that has aimed fire. So that is usually a good start.
Yes.
Oh, I've backtracking. I forgot to talk about the different types of infantry. You've got
go.
You've got your soldiers and your spearmen. Now, there is a little bit of difference with the spearmen usually being 1 point higher in cost and having brace.
Yes.
Now with that, if with it being 1 point higher, that is theoretically less you have to paint in the long run. But if you're playing up against an army that doesn't really have charge,
yeah,
your spearmen are going to be few and far between.
Yes.
So like against goblins, you want as many against goblins or orcs or monsters even, you want as many spears as you can muster.
Absolutely. You're going to take some of that charge off of them.
Yes. But if you're playing against the dwarves, a regular soldier is going to do the same against a dwarf as a spearman.
Absolutely.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is you maybe, at least from what I found, a good ratio is 2 to 1. For every 2 soldiers, I'd say 1 spearman. Okay. Or you could go 1 to 1 for every 1 soldier, 1 spearman. But then again, that goes into your army theme.
Yes.
So if you want all spearmen, because they essentially do the same thing, go right ahead.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, I just forgot to bring that up. And then going back to the archer, going back to ranged.
Yes.
There's the archers, rangers, there's the elephant in the room. I don't know if we want to touch on this.
we can always talk about catapults.
Yes. Or not just catapults, just artillery.
No. Artillery, okay.
Yep, that.
Yes.
If Oathmark was a competitive game, which I personally don't believe it to be.
No.
I don't want it to be.
No. I wouldn't be playing it if it was like that. I had several choices of which way to go when I was looking at stuff, and the couple of games that I was looking at, it was like I watched some videos on YouTube and went, yep, not get involved in that.
Yeah. Like if Oathmark was a competitive game, you would see artillery all over the place.
Oh yeah.
But thankfully it's not. So many people usually don't, from what I've seen, usually don't bring artillery, or if they do, there's usually some gentleman's agreement beforehand.
Yeah.
Or house rule beforehand. Or they really only just bring 1.
Yeah. I've never taken more than 1, and I've never played anybody with more than 1. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so like, oh, come on, brain, work. You just were speaking before. Oh, damn it. This is bad.
Do you want me to stop a second?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then with artillery, although most of it doesn't have aimed fire, it can still, like if you do the indirect fire, if I've read the rules correctly, if you do indirect fire, you just at a penalty of a -1 to shoot, and you can hit pretty much anything anyway.
Yep. Basically, no, I completely agree. It's that indirect fire can be it's lethal, and it seems to be that it doesn't, it's wherever you can see it. So
yeah, and then there's also it's still a shooting attack, and shooting attacks are simple actions. So even if it doesn't activate, it can still shoot.
Yep.
So artillery is very hit or miss with some people.
I agree.
Yeah.
And when it hits, it's really bad.
Oh yeah. Oh, I can even try the pun there. It is essentially a hit or miss.
But yeah. So and then somebody brings their dwarves along, casts explosive ammo onto it.
I wasn't even counting that.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about that.
You must never forget that.
Yep.
And then you've got flying, exploding balls of rock coming at you as well. So giving you.
Yeah, you might as well just ask, should I just remove this unit now or later?
Yeah. I mean, and it's been talked about before, but so I'm sure it'll come up again. I am a believer that they are powerful. but they don't break the game. I think you might have to assign something to go make sure that it gets smashed up. I've seen them, usually they get left in the back line, back of the, because they don't need to move. So get something that can try and get out to them, glamour them over there, get something that's flying, because you've got within probably maybe 3 turns, you can probably get something into it, or get something.
Although I am thinking about it now, you can just fireball.
Yes, you can. I've done that. Yeah, definitely. Fireball, probably take 2 or 3 shots. Maybe 2 or 3 shots, I reckon. And it's over. So it depends how many wizards you got. But yeah.
Anyway, this isn't the build a catapult session. This is build a climbing session.
It is. Yeah.
So let's bring it back. And in fact, I want to say that pretty much covers the ranged department. Because I know Chris and I already talked a lot about ranged.
Yeah, definitely.
And I forget, it was like episode 30 something.
It was 30 something, yes.
Yeah. But anyway, then it goes into cavalry. And you have a little bit of choice with cavalry. You've got like your elf cav, your mounted rangers. The human heavy cav, for what comparatively to the other cavalry, is pretty damn good.
Oh yeah, it's my go-to.
Oh yeah,
I pretty much always have 10 human heavy cav in my list.
Oh yeah. So like or even like if you want to be cheap, the regular human cavalry do pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, there's only a little bit. There's a few changes in it, but
it's only like 1 defense, I think. Right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, there's definitely only 1 defense. Though I have found sometimes that's really important. When they're rolling 8s and you're like, you need 9s and 10s.
Was that magic item on the champion really worth?
Yeah.
Like 3 cavalry going down.
Exactly. So, but yeah.
And then then you've got your mounted rangers, which have the aimed fire, and they have the mobility of cavalry. So that is usually a not one and done, like best of both worlds. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah,
best of both worlds between getting foot archers with aimed fire or cavalry.
Yeah.
Just why not both?
I've if I'm going to use the rangers, I've always filled them in 5s.
Yeah.
They're good out on the wings. Just to hold stuff down. You can.
And that's usually how I play my cavalry anyway. I usually just there are the odd times when I literally have my cavalry charge down the center, but those are few and far between.
Yeah.
Because like, I guess the idea is either like, do you want to become Rohan or do you want to play smart?
No, absolutely. Yeah, usually Rohan for me, but there you go.
Yeah.
My boys, when they are boys, they usually are at the forefront, and I'd say 80% of the time they maul stuff, and then the 20% of the time they get absolutely smashed, and I cry.
I suppose like your mounted, because like from what I've seen, there's either like medium cavalry or heavy cavalry.
Yeah.
Like there is some light cavalry in the form of the mounted rangers, and also the wolf riders.
I was going to say that the wolf riders are I would probably say heavy light cavalry. They're sort of, if you put it in historical context, I would probably say they're more hussars or something like that.
Yeah. Because like with your medium and heavy cavalry, that's really where you get the stopping power. But with the light cavalry, that's where you usually mop up enemy units. So like you won't be charging into the forefront with your wolf riders, but you will be picking off a unit that maybe you already meleeed this turn.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
I think that's it for Cav, unless you can think of anything.
Yeah, I suppose you can chuck the chariots in there with the Cav.
Oh, right. Yes, the chariots. I personally have not played with chariots, so I can't say much about them.
I'll be honest
But
with you, nor have I.
what I've seen from battle reports, what I've heard is they are what you use to hold down your flank.
Yes. Yeah.
And I've actually put it this way to one of my friends. They actually feel outdated in the game. Like if you think about it, because like not that being like outdated is bad, but like from a thematic perspective, it feels like these war machines are out of their time in
Absolutely.
the setting.
It's like you read my mind, sir.
Yep.
Because it's why I will never play, and I will have a chariot. It will be in my undead army, because they are going to be sort of Bronze Agey,
right? Yep.
Sort of that sort of esky. I don't know. I haven't decided fully yet, but it's Iceni, Roman sort of era, and the Dark Ages. Yeah, chariots have gone. Nobody's using them anymore. So, but yeah.
And that actually is the sort from the man himself. It is this game is very Dark Ages. So like there's not like in the game itself, there's not many crossbows, there's no gunpowder. That's not to stop you from proxying if you want. But like I suppose it also helps in narrowing down your theme as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Use whatever you figures you want. So yeah, like you said, it is a dark aged fantasy game, and as I've learnt last night, low fantasy, which I didn't know was actually a thing. So yeah, I think all those things happen, but yeah, they are a bit aged in the concept of the combat that we're playing, but they do look pretty, and again, I haven't played against any yet, so I'm sure that'll change. But yeah.
And you could technically use it as a historical in a pinch too. Just run humans and don't run mages.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Actually, there's a challenge for anyone listening. Don't run magic.
Well, yeah.
That would legitimately be a challenge.
Yeah, done that. That didn't go well.
I have for demo games only because I forgot to bring the mage.
Okay, how did it go? I'm interested.
Very quickly, actually.
Yeah.
For one, it was a demo game, but like we were only playing 1,000 points. But it just felt weird because like I was running my I was running my orcs. I'm going. It would be very nice to have blade mastery on them right now.
Yeah.
It also didn't help that we were playing 1,000 points with the mages built into the army, but the mages weren't physically there because I forgot to bring them.
Poor planning.
Yep.
Poor planning. We've all done that before.
Oh,
and where's your army?
We'll continue to do so.
Half at home.
Like there was one time I was doing a battle report and I doing a solo game, and I mounted rangers into my opposition force. And I'm literally turn 3 into the game. I'm going, I forgot to put down the mountain rangers. Anyway, I guess that mops up the cavalry.
Yes.
And then it goes, and now we're going into monsters.
Yes.
And this is where it gets interesting.
It does.
Yeah, very interesting. Because like you have your basic ogres, your trolls.
Yeah.
And then you got some I'm trying to think of a word that wouldn't result in me swearing. But you've got some weird and interesting stuff.
Yes, you do.
So like you've got the what is it called? The human, it's the human list, the spellcaster monster.
The Bogart. Yes, Bogast.
But yeah, you know which one I'm talking about though.
It's the old man that fires spells, yes.
Yeah. I have never heard of that before.
Nope. Me neither.
Like I'm reading some of these monsters and I'm going, what even is that? But then again, it also plays in of using whatever minis you want.
Yeah.
If you want an Andric to be an owl bear,
Mm-hmm.
run it as an Indrik. Run that owl bear as an Indrik.
Absolutely. Yeah, just definitely. There's a lot of monsters. I mean, I've got polar bears as ogres for my dwarfs.
Yep, I remember seeing that actually.
Yeah. So I've got that. You know, I've got werewolves as wolvers, but
Yep.
I've got some actual wolver miniatures. My wyvern is actually a manticore.
Yeah.
My giant's a massive cave troll. You know, so it doesn't. I got a giant that's a giant, but
I have a couple of bugbears actually from Reaper minis running as ogres now.
Nice models.
Of course, they still need to be painted.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Let's see. Let me open up the book. What are some other interesting monsters? I know there's the Bargeist in the dwarf list, I believe.
Yeah.
The sort of like wolf that has regeneration.
Yeah, and can discorporate as well, can't it?
Yes. Oh, I'm looking at it now. Actually, this is interesting. The dwarves don't have a monster on a 50 by 100 in the list. Huh.
Yeah, they don't, do they?
More you know.
Well, I just have to pick a dragon.
Yeah. Let's see. You do have your Lindworm. Wolvers, of course, giant spiders, which I was very surprised to find in the elf list and not the goblin list.
Yeah, yeah. I suppose they're just sort of thinking
more
of the woods.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Here's an interesting one. Not one that's like interesting as in I've never heard of this before, but one that it would be an interesting choice to take on the battlefield. Gargoyles.
Oh yeah, definitely. I keep going back to gargoyles and thinking that they would be a good little unit to have to blip around.
Yep, they would be a good. They would probably be a very good flanking unit.
Getting quickly into the back line, flying over units, that sort of thing. I think I definitely see them. But every time I go to put them in there, I always go, but I want this, that, and the other in my list. So I might have to bite the bullet one day and just do that. I haven't got anything that's good for proxy models for them, so I'll have to find something like that. But I'm sure that's not too difficult.
Yeah. And then I suppose it goes into how you would play the monsters. I probably play them incorrectly in that I use them as my bullet sponges.
Okay.
Because like they have multiple hit points.
Yeah.
So like you're not losing models every time they take a wound.
No. I mean,
again, that's probably the wrong way to play them because like because like that one wound you took from an archer might be the difference between saving them from that cavalry charge.
Yeah, no, there is that. I use it if I see my opposition player, my opponent has got and I've got a monster, and they've got the catapult or some sort of piece of artillery, and I kind of chuck them at that because it's big and chunky, and they're thinking, oh yeah, I need to whack that, and they do, you know. So it's actually, but it's saving the guys that are going to do the hard work. Because you've got a giant or something like that that's for activating half the time. Actually, that's not so bad having the catapult, because it kind of just bigger the giant the opponent usually thinks I really got to hit that.
I actually do have
the same.
Yeah, I actually do have a model I run as a Colossus.
Okay.
Which is the Pathfinder Earth Elemental, I believe.
Oh, right. Okay.
The one where it's holding that giant rock over its head.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's nice model.
like I do plan to use that as a living Oathmark as well to back up my Orcs.
Okay.
Which you're looking at dumping 400 points into. But again, it's like it's also a thing of making your opponent do a play, like forcing your opponent to make a move that they wouldn't otherwise want to.
Absolutely.
And like no matter where you put your monsters, be it your lowly ogres or even a dragon, it's forcing them to think, I have to deal with that somehow.
No, absolutely. No, that's good points. So I think, I think we've sort of kind of wrapped it up there. We're going to move on to the next subject. I think, it's an interesting subject. How how do you form that army? How do you do, we could explore all the different miniature lines, all that sort of stuff. Maybe I think that's something we're going to talk about in the future. Have a look at some of the old school stuff out there, and just have a chat about,
or some of the new stuff that's coming out.
Absolutely, all the new stuff that's coming out, and go through them. Not review them, just not say, "Oh, I don't like this about it," because I don't
just
want
saying,
this
how
is
they might possibly be used.
Absolutely, here's Raoul Panthera's 1986 sculpts. Are these going to be any good to build a undead army or an orc army, or about this and that and this? So we'll do that in the future. That's something that I've definitely been thinking about. But we're going to move on to the next topic, which
possibly something that might be even more intimidating. Terrain building.
Indeed, terrain building. Now, there's a lot of people out there that go and buy stuff, and I don't blame you. I do buy stuff, and I do terrain build. I terrain build because I find it a great stopgap and a relief from painting minis. I prefer to, if I could sit there and build terrain all day, I could, but then I'd only have a lovely looking table. I think it's lovely to go onto the table. So, how you do it is up to you. But I think personalizing a piece of terrain or something like that and doing some work on it is, it's really good. So we're going to sort of think about Oathmarks. I know Discord has just had their monthly challenge
of building an Oathmark.
Indeed. And when this comes out, the Facebook group is going to have the same challenge, to be honest. I didn't nick it. I didn't know about it because I haven't been checking out the challenge out on Discord. So but I think it's you need some Oathmarks for Oathmark.
Oh yes.
So
or it doesn't have to be Oathmarks. You could build a house.
Yes.
Which that process is actually fairly simple. You could build it out of cardboard. You just need some cardboard, maybe some old craft sticks, or is what I use, coffee stir sticks.
All right, yeah, definitely. Go into your local Starbucks and order a coffee and take all that stones.
But not even. You can, at least here across the pond in the United States, you can get a bag of like 150 coffee stir sticks for like $3, $4.
No, you can get them over here for very cheaply. So I'm not suggesting that anybody go and steal.
No, definitely not. No.
But you definitely can get them. Go and ask them if you can get some from the recycle bin or something. They may even give you them. But if you haven't got the $3, but they're good all-round usage.
Then all you really need is some cardboard to make the walls. There is one thing you got to make sure it sort of lines up well. Unless, of course, you're going for the orc and goblin of, if it's still standing after a few weeks, I suppose we did a good job.
Absolutely.
You could make it look ramshackle.
Yeah.
And really only being held together by spit and glue.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen people using like making tents and stuff for goblins and orcs, and you can do that really. You can use some sticks that you find out in the world, glue them together. I would probably glue them together with super glue myself. Make that, and then you can just layer like paper over the top, craft paper. Get that some PVA onto it, watered down, and just wet it down. Let it start setting, and then do it again, and add another layer. And you get like a skin type feel over the top of it, and you got some tents. You got some sort of things, and it just it makes
Alternatively, I have found another good way to get sort of like a what's the word? Sort of like a rough hewn, like leather draped over a wooden frame.
All right.
It's actually not my method. I get it from the YouTuber Black Magic Craft.
All right. Yes, I follow him. He's really good.
So you might know about this. You remember the where he was doing brown construction paper?
Okay.
As paper mache.
I may not have seen that one. That doesn't ring any bells, but
yeah. So you take some regular, any old construction paper, really. You could paint it later, and sort of get a watery glue mixture, and it's essentially just paper mache, and it gets this really nice texture of just some regular old leather.
All right, yeah, awesome.
Yep,
that sounds a really good idea. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and guys, as I'm sure you don't all need knowing, being told, but there is 1001 how to build terrain YouTube videos. There's fantastic ones, there's okay ones, and all those in between. So if you're not sure, go and have a look, and you can make terrain out of pretty much anything.
You could take an old breadcrumb box and slap it on the table and just say it's a tower.
Yes, indeed.
Not saying I've done that. Totally not. Of course not. No.
No, that would be ridiculous.
No.
But I mean, I'm a great believer in using wild, what's out in the in nature. I use stones, and I pick up. I mean, I'm lucky where I live. I've got chalk. We've got the chalk downs with lots of flint in it, and I've got gravel. We got just I can go anywhere and I go out for a walk. I pick stuff up. I've got moss.
Yep.
If you don't use moss, guys, just rip moss off of something, take it home. It survives for about 3,000 years. You can glue the stuff down. You can put glycerin over it if you want, but it doesn't matter what color it goes, because as it gets older, and then you can just rip it off and replace it. I use rocks as rocks, and I don't paint them, because there's nothing more rocky than a rock.
You can't get more stone than a stone.
No, you can't. And people go, oh yeah, but it looks bad. No, I don't need to put any shading on it, because it's got shading on it.
Yep.
It's already natural. I use twigs as logs and stuff like that. If you coat that, when you spray over the with, like, if you've got dead wood and stuff like that, you spray it over with matte varnish or hairspray, all that sort of stuff. Actually, that gives it a good clear thing, and it may decay over time, and it might not last 20 years, but I'd be surprised if you're using the same piece of terrain that you made 20 years ago. I would be surprised. But even if you do, you just chip it off and stick another piece on it, because it's free. So yeah, I use a lot of natural sort of things instead of, and I do use all the other bits and pieces you can buy from, all the big sort of clumps and the foliage and all that sort of stuff, and all those bits and pieces, because they do add to the sort of diorama effect. But you can do quite a lot with what nature provides us already.
Yep.
So so my next project is to build a new Oathmark. I built some at the beginning of this year. I've got them. They're okay, but I'm not happy with them, so I'm going to build some new ones. So
I also do plan on participating in this challenge. Finally participating in a Facebook challenge.
Nice.
So, like, I actually got the idea from somebody else in the Facebook group, and I apologize, I cannot remember your name.
There's quite a few of us, so don't worry about it.
It was a sort of, it was a goblin Oathmark of sort of like a sacrificial stone.
Oh, okay.
With a dwarf head on it.
Oh, I haven't seen that one. That sounds quite good.
I remember seeing it and I'm thinking, oh, that's neat. I got to build that. And this was like a few months ago.
Yeah.
But now I finally have an excuse to start cracking at it.
All right. Okay. Well, I've got some bits and pieces. I've got some resin stuff that I'm going to be using. That's been sitting around. I bought some new stuff from at Salute from a company called Northumbrian Tin Soldier. They do some ruins that I'm gonna, and I've got some like stones with runes on and all that sort of stuff. So I'm going to use a CD, an old CD. I'm going to layer that with some basing texture and stuff like that, build a base on it, and build my Oathmark onto that, because you don't need, a CD. I bet you there's everybody's got tons of old CDs that they just don't use anymore. You pick them up for nothing, or go into and ask companies, and they just give them to you. My mother works in a charity shop, and she gave me about 300 things because they weren't worth any money to me. So, but that's my plan. So I won't give it away too much, because obviously it's going to be in the challenge. But no, it's going to be Nordic-y and sort of dwarfy and stuff like that. So yeah, and I like when I do that sort of thing with an Oathmark. I like it to look like a diorama. I'm all about the diorama. I use AK Interactive diorama materials. They do a lot of basing materials and all sorts of stuff like that. So my theme, and we go back to the army, my theme for the whole army of my dwarves and my goblins is going to be that it is a ice kingdom. It's going to be snow. It's the winter, so everything around that is going to be based. So my diorama will be snow. So they'll have some paths that it looks like people have walked up to the stone to pray or something like that. And I might put a brazier on there, because I've got a brazier from something or other. So I'd like to make each one a little diorama. So yeah, and you don't have to do that.
You could do what I do. I don't base my terrain.
Oh, okay.
Well, for the smaller stuff, I think I will start, only because it's just so easy to just knock it over. But for like the Norse longhouse that I built, I haven't based that. I probably won't base
That's fair enough.
No,
something that big, you don't need to base at all, actually. I'm thinking the small scatter stuff. So I mean, I've got a couple of the foreground Anglo-Saxon slum cottage dwellings, and I put them on bases and put a garden on that for thematic reasons. And it looks really nice. You've just seen it in the but you can't do that with everything, because it takes up even more room than it did previously. So, but yeah, for scatter terrain, I think, and that's what I'm sort of pointing at, is try and make that into a little diorama. It makes the table ping a little bit better every time, I think. So yeah, no, go out there, get some terrain. It's important. I think it's a very important part of the game. All games, actually, making your terrain look nice. I've been trying to improve my stuff that I've got, certainly for the battle reports. I haven't put any out for a while, but just because I've been playing against unpainted armies, and that's definitely a thing that people really keen on not seeing, which is cool. So, but that's going to change real soon. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah. So
I just thought of a joke.
Okay, go.
With unpainted armies, all you need to do is spray prime them, because it's technically paint.
It is indeed. That's very true. So yeah, and Games Workshop usually say you have to have at least 3 colours on your figures. So if you make sure everybody's got
that's good. I have
chainmail.
I have 3 spray cans.
Exactly. If you make sure it's chainmail, you can just paint silver, bit of flesh on there, bit of wood, and some red trousers, pants, whatever you Americans call them. But yeah, red trousers onto them. So and you're off, and you can win. So anyway, I think we're going to move on. I think we probably overrun. If this was Chris, he would be going, Matt, you're talking too much. You know what? I'd agree with him. So we're going to move on to the next subject, which is the 10 questions and how quickly you can do them.
Oh
So,
no.
are you ready?
Probably not, but let's go for it.
Okay. So, what I'm going to do from now on, so you are going to be the first person to do it in the theme I'm doing it. I did.
I'm the guinea pig.
You are. I did two in different episodes, and they'll be playing before this. Whereas I was a bit disorganized, but now I'm a bit more organized. So I got the 10 questions.
Okay.
I've got my stopwatch, and we are going to start it. And I will then. He says he's got a stopwatch and ready. Are you ready, Brian?
I am. Let's go.
Okay. And he just immediately turns off the stopwatch. Are you ready, Ryan? Yes,
I
you
am.
are. Okay. First question: Fleet feet. Casting number 5. What does it spell do?
It adds 2 to your movement, 2 to your
Correct.
move stat.
Mystic Shield. What does that spell do?
It adds +1 to shielding, but it cannot be cast on units that already have shielding.
Correct. I have 2 spiders. How many combat dirt do I have?
4.
You do. What distance do I need to do overshooting my archers?
To shoot over, you need to be within 3 inches.
Correct. If I maneuver in bad going terrain, what happens?
Say again?
If I maneuver in rough terrain, what happens?
So you lose half of your move stat. Well, it costs half of your move stat, so it costs double.
Okay. If I'm maneuvering, my move ends.
Oh.
How far does a giant move in a simple move?
5 inches.
3.5. Number 7. Non-active unit has already activated this turn. What modifiers is that in the combat modifier?
Not. I'm sorry.
That a non-active unit has already activated this turn. What modifier is that combat modifier?
-1 to fight.
Yes. Range of a ballista.
30 inches.
Correct. What number do I need to roll to kill a character in a unit when in combat?
To kill any character?
Yes. Or an officer.
Oh, to kill. Oh, crap.
No, I'm going to have to move on. Number 10 on the strange events table. What if you roll a double 10? What do you get?
Oh, geez. Bad food.
No, that's double 3. A hero is born. Okay. So unfortunately, that's not 10 for 10. That was 2 minutes. You got 5 wrong now, I'm afraid.
I was going strong at the start.
You were. Maybe I made it too difficult. I don't know. So, but yes, unfortunately, a maneuver. So if you're maneuvering in like a wood or something, so if you go pivot or you, maybe I should have put it that way.
Yeah, pivot. I think I misheard you. I think I heard move instead of maneuver.
Right. Okay. And then obviously the giant moves 7 inches. So it's 3.5. I mean 30 inches. Oh no, and you need 10 to kill an officer or a character.
Okay.
Anyway, you can choose to kill it, can't you?
But isn't that only if it's like if you have it on the champion die?
Maybe it is. Maybe I got it wrong. I'll have to look.
Because I remember reading that rule now, but I believe it was only on the champion.
I thought it was if you had a character and you were fighting a character. Maybe I'm wrong.
It might be character on character. I just thought it was with.
Right. Okay.
We'll find out.
It's still a 10. You still need a 10.
You still need whatever it is. You still need that 10.
You do need a 10. And then obviously the strange events number 10 is a hero is born.
Okay.
So you get a immediate champion. So he rallies the troops. But anyway, we move on to the final section. Final section being a silly question. The silly question today is: you are a giant eagle. You have a choice of either becoming a member of the goblin or the halfling army. Which one do you choose?
If I'm a giant eagle,
which we haven't got yet, but we need.
Yeah. I will probably go goblins.
And why is that?
Only because there's more of them to protect me.
Fair enough. I'm going to
yes, the halflings will stick around longer because they have that courage.
They do.
But there's just not too many of them.
No.
And plus, if there's an insubordinate goblin, maybe I get a little bit of a snack.
Yeah, I was going to say goblins as well because they're so thick they won't notice that I'm now and again when I need a snack, I'm eating one of the buggers. Mm-hmm. Whereas the halflings would definitely notice that their pet eagle, giant eagle, gobbling
just
down.
ate their neighbor.
Yeah. Like, yeah, where's Samway Gamgee's gone? Ooh, that.
Oh no, not Sam! No, not Sam!
That great big eagle just eating him. Oh my word! So
gives a whole new meaning to the eagles are coming. Just watch out!
Indeed. Oh my word! Because let's be honest, they're not. They see a small thing like that, they're going to go, "That's dinner, isn't it? That's definitely dinner. That's dinner. That's not. I'm not. You want me to do what? That's dinner. Okay, no, it's not dinner. But yeah, so no, that's awesome. I appreciate your time with me this evening.
I very much appreciate you bringing me back to the podcast.
No. And the invite will be extended again, my friend. And I would just like to thank everybody that's listened to this podcast. Keep coming back. Keep listening. If you've got a problem, you think that there's something you want to hear, if you think there's something we can improve on, please feel free to comment. Don't be rude, just comment. I'm not suggesting any of you are rude, but just comment and say, can we have something on this? If there's a guest you want to listen to again, feel free. If there's something you would like me to try and get on again. And yes, you can ask me for Joe, but Joe is only going to, I'm not going to keep hitting him up. And Nick may well come on again. I may be able to say to him at some point to do that again. But if there's another guest out there that you want to chat to, listen to me chat to, feel free to ask the question. Also, make a suggestion. Or if you've got a favourite YouTuber that you listen to or watch and they're involved in Oathmark, feel free to reach out to them and say, you should do this. Because, I'm interested in everybody that's playing Oathmark or any of Joe's games, actually. So I'm going to say goodnight. Brian, if you could say goodnight, that'd be great.
Yep. Have a good night, everyone, wherever in the world you may be.
Absolutely. And I will say good night, good afternoon, and good morning, wherever you are. So see you next time.